And Ponder obviously is under extreme scrutiny. He's in his make or break year. He had an up and down season last year. He's expected to improve a great deal this year, and this is the third year of his development, and we're going to find out whether he is our quarterback of the future or not this season. ESPN's Kevin Seifert broke down Ponder's quarterback rating versus his win-loss record last year, and it's pretty revealing. So in weeks 1 through 4, Ponder had a quarterback rating of 68.8. His rank in the NFL during that time as a quarterback was he was the 10th most productive quarterback in the league during those first 4 weeks, and the Vikings' win-loss record reflected it. They were 3-1 during that time. Then he went into a slump in weeks 5 through 13. He had a quarterback rating of 27.1, and his NFL rank at that time was 34. There's 32 teams in the league, so that's how low it was. And during that time, his win-loss record, the Vikings' win-loss record reflected that as well. They were 3-5, three wins, 5 losses. And then towards the end of that last year, where the Vikings brass gained a lot of confidence and a lot of hope that he will be our quarterback for the future, was weeks 14 through 17, when he had a quarterback rating of 86.8. His NFL rank at that time was 2. He was the second most productive quarterback in the league, and they had a 4-1 win-loss record, so 4 wins, no losses. So they're hanging a lot on that performance, that Ponder can be that quarterback that he was in the latter part of last year. Where it mattered, by the way, where he had to win for the Vikings to get into the playoffs. Reporters, of course, reporting on Minicamp, they're only allowed a very tiny sliver of access to Minicamp, so you have to take this with a large grain of salt. What they saw is not everything that he did in Minicamp. But the two things that they're working on with Ponder this year are accuracy and his decision making. And so, first of all, his accuracy. A lot of the reporters covering this were saying, there's some poorly thrown balls and stuff, and again, they only had a tiny sliver of Minicamp from which to judge. Coach Frazier, his quote on Ponder's accuracy is, "I think he's much better. He worked his tail off trying to improve his accuracy. Coaches have put him through a bunch of different drills through his hard work. I think he's improved in that area. We've got some things we've got to get done in training camp, but he's put in the work to improve, and we're seeing that." So some positive remarks from Frazier, but also tempered with there's still work to be done. This is Minicamp. Accuracy is a work in progress. It's a two-way street. If your receivers aren't running the routes you're supposed to, you're not going to be accurate by definition if they're not where they're supposed to be to catch the ball. So, and that's part of the issue here with this training camp too. In this off season, the returning receivers that Ponder has to throw to are Kyle Rudolph, with whom he's had a lot of work and he has a lot of trust in. They had a full off season last year together. He was a go-to receiver last year during the regular season, and so and he's a big target, and tight ends typically are a safety valve for a quarterback in trouble too. So they are on the same page. Jerome Simpson was used only sparingly last year during the regular season. He got no preseason work with Ponder because he was injured. Jarius Wright, of course, got very few reps in the preseason. He was a rookie last year, and he was only really used after Percy Harvin went down with injury. He was put on injured reserve, and even then he wasn't used a lot. John Carlson, another tight end, was injured last year and had no preseason work with Ponder to speak of, and he was rarely used during the regular season. So there's Steve Burton, again, another rarely used receiver. Didn't get many reps during the preseason, and rarely used during the regular season. Joe Webb, a receiver who at this time last year was throwing passes. He was a quarterback. Now he's converted to a wide receiver. So again, basically a rookie as far as rookie receiver as far as Ponder is concerned. Greg Childs injured all last year. He's still rehabbing, so he's not really in the mix yet. And then they get a handful of practice squad players. So those are the guys that are returning, and Ponder's got to get on the same page with many of them. Jerome Simpson, Jarius Wright, John Carlson. Those are the guys that are going to be on the field a lot this season. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done with his returning receivers, not to mention his new receivers. He's got Greg Jennings now to throw to, a veteran, obviously, who has, throughout the offseason, emphasized trust, that Ponder needs to trust his receivers are going to be where they're going to be. I don't know. I think that's easier for Greg Jennings to say, because he is a veteran, because he knows where he's supposed to be. A lot of the receivers that Ponder had to throw to last year, and then this year with even the returning receivers having to do a lot of work with them, whether that's going to be the case. But yes, there is a degree of trust that needs to happen between a quarterback and receiver. And then Cordero Patterson, of course, he's a rookie with very little college experience, and so there's a lot of work that they need to get in with him, and they're going to be spoon-feeding him the offense anyway. So accuracy also comes with repetition, building muscle memory, and with throwing certain routes the same way every time. So that comes with practice, that comes with repetition, that comes with knowing your receivers and everything. So that, I think, improves over time. Decision making, though, is the big thing with Ponder's progress. He has not shown. He's shown some poor decision making in the past, but he's also shown some very good decision making in the past. One of the hallmarks of his good decision making is he doesn't turn the ball over a lot, which means that that's a big thing. He can't turn the ball over a lot. And he hasn't done that typically throughout his career. So that's a good thing, but he has to improve, and that is, I think, the biggest issue going into this season is what his decision making looks like, and we'll know whether he's a quarterback of the future based on his decision making. So Frazier's comment on his decision making was, his football above the neck has been impressive in time he's been out here practicing. He's got the athletic ability, and you want him to make good decisions under the center. And some of the things he's done out here leads me to believe, along with our staff, that he's grown a lot in that area, making better decisions with the football, which should help him down the line. So I think time will tell, and we're only really going to be able to judge whether his decision making is improved once we get into the regular season and see him actually play some games. So hopefully we'll get that latter part of last season Ponder all season this year, and have a return to the playoffs and advance in the playoffs, and that's the goal. Wrap up with a self-promotion plug. I have another podcast called Beyond Social Media. It's a marketing podcast, marketing communications, public relations, advertising. That's my profession, that I do every week with my colleagues and co-hosts, Albert Marugi and B.L. Ockman, and we talk about all things communications. And you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/BeyondSocialMedia. We are doing that as a Google Hangout as well, just like this Vikings Chat podcast. We had been doing it on Blog Talk Radio as an audio only, but now we're doing it as a video podcast, and you can see them again at youtube.com/BeyondSocialMedia. This week, I talked about Robert Kraft's allegation, the New England Patriots owner, his allegation that Russian leader Vladimir Putin stole his Super Bowl ring. So you can see a video clip on that, and I'll include the links to those videos in the show notes below. You can see my description of what I think is the ultimate in-stadium mobile app. It's awesome. It doesn't exist, but I'd love to say it exists. So if you're a developer, contact me. Maybe we can figure out how to make a fortune off of this. But it's my description of what I'd love to see as a fan for an in-stadium mobile app. And then finally, I list some numbers, some statistics from a survey of America's favorite sports, which sports America's hold as their favorites, and ranking. and hint, hint, you're in the majority, and how Americans follow their sports that they love. And so you can see all that. Again, links are all in the description below. If you have any comments or you have any opinions or whatever, I'd love to hear your feedback. Leave them in the comments below. Make sure to like this video if you like it. Share it with your social media network. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. Share it on Google. Email it to friends if you want. And be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss any of these videos at Minnesota Vikings Chat. And for that, that's the wrap. Until next week, go Vikings!